That
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Hello and welcome to the Integration Station, you beautiful souls. Really welcome back. I'm really happy to be back. I'm here in Ontario, coming from my mom's office. Actually, this is where I was able to get away for a little bit of quiet. It's been a really busy time in general. This has been such a dynamic time in human history, and then in my own personal life as well. Everything's really taking off, including myself. I took off with my son. Really grateful that I have this opportunity, being an entrepreneur and being a single mom. There's an asset in everything. I wouldn't be able to do these things if I didn't have the challenges, if I didn't overcome the challenges that I was presented. I'd never accepted hand that I was dealt in life. I threw away the cards and I play my own game, um and I was able to have this privilege to not only road school my son, but when we left for our trip, we thought we were going to go from Ontario to the coast, and we thought to the west coast. So it's quite a drive, and I've done it the Canada way, maybe 6 times back and forth. But I wanted to take the States because I thought, this would be a great learning experience for my son and I. Let's do something new. And I love that sense of awe when you see something new. Like, I live for that. That's my new addiction. I'm a recovering addict, and, I had to replace it with something. So I found a way to turn that into an asset. And this is one of those ways. It's looking for that sense of awe and beauty and that new. So we started on our trip through the United States, and not only went to the West Coast, but we were able to take about 3 months, and we went down to Nevada, California, and then we went up into Mount Shasta for quite a while. We spent a month in Vancouver. We traveled back and forth between Alberta and British Columbia in the north and the south for probably about a month with my mom. So really, we did a lot in this time. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of healing, a lot of growth, a lot of beauty, a lot of, miraculous things. We also we got to learn a lot, personal one-on-one experience with life. Life is school. This is why I chose to road school. This is why I chose to homeschool. This is why Finn's never been enrolled in any other system. We have 3 choices as a parent. We can private school, which I have paid for Finn to have different teachers in different ways, things that are of interest to him at the time that aren't exactly my strong suits, or where I feel that it would be more beneficial coming from somebody else, because I can't be everything, and not everything can come from me. It needs to be enforced. I can plant seeds all I want, but he is responsible for keeping his soil fertile. I do assist with that, but that's essentially his decision. And then I can plant the seeds, and then it sometimes takes somebody else watering and, putting their love into it for it to grow to its full potential, because otherwise mom just planting seed after seed after seed, they're not all going to grow. They need to be nourished and nurtured by others, and nature is the same way. There's a diversity of different bugs that come and contribute, a diversity of different animals that contribute, and then there's people as well. So I'm been seeking this type of community support, which we do have, like between friends and family and just like amazing people that we meet on the road. But this life is school way of doing things has really, it makes it an experience for everybody to learn. And my mom got to experience that too. She was never for this homeschooling style. She thought, why make things harder for you than they need to be? You already work for yourself. That's hard. You already, are single. That's hard. And then, to homeschool on top of that. She didn't understand, but she saw it, and that was quite beautiful. She saw it when she was with us. She saw the beauty. She wasn't always for everything I say about nutrition or about the environment or about spirituality. A lot of that stuff is woohoo. But in direct personal experience, her and Finn and even myself gets that reinforcement that there is a lot more to life than this, and that there's a lot more going on than what just meets the eye, or what media is telling you. If you're not in places, you don't always know the whole story. I wasn't in Maui. I don't know that whole story, but I am in Canada, and I've traveled back and forth between the East and West Coast over 6 times. Now would be 8. So, it's definitely changed, and there's always wildfires, but what we saw was a little different. I stepped foot in these 15-minute cities. I saw signs for many more. And this is the world that my son's growing up in, and he's going to be equipped because of these choices that I've made and the challenges I've chosen to overcome and, stand up against that. He's going to know how to move through it. Like, he's right now, he has no idea. Like, he thinks, these are opportunities that everybody gets, but when he's getting older now, and when we're doing things that for a lot of people would be like a bucket list experience, and they're saying to Finn, hey man, like, I've waited my whole life to do this, he's starting to get that reinforcement, and that things are a little bit different for him, and he's understanding that there is more value. He has it in his mind that with these fires, when we went up into Jasper and went through the fires, that that we actually saved his nanny. And that's part of like the that's something that he came up with all on his mind. He watches a lot of superhero stuff, but in that moment he got to be that hero, or like experience what that was like. But he also got to understand that there's other stuff going on that isn't always what meets the eye. So we've had a lot of experiences. We have done the zoos, we've done animal conservations, we've done professional gardens, and we have done and we've seen where pollution and oil spills are, and we've seen really clean water, and we have gone some dangerous heights, and found some really miraculous and magical spots along our journey. And we were able to do this for 3 months. I didn't have to have an agenda. Same with back in the day, when I did South America on my own. I did Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. I did that with a cell phone and a 20-liter backpack, and the backpack still had more stuff than I need because I'm very minimalist. I also bought stuff which needed a second backpack at one point in time, but that was when I knew I was coming home. I just bought another backpack and I threw my hammock and a blanket and other stuff that I had bought that I wanted to bring back with me in that time. But, you know, it was like a really crazy minimalist experience. But also, here's the thing, that cell phone was stolen from me my first day. So I didn't need it. I let it go. There was like Terrence McKenna and Joe Rogan on there and Spirit Science. I was thinking whoever stole that from me they don't know what they're in for, but I hope that their life changes and that they needed that more than me. So, you know, I let it go. You know, and I you know, I worried, like, is there not going to be like any pictures or anything, because now I don't have a phone to do any of that. But guess what? I got to be more present in the moment. And I met a lot of people on the way that did take photos and tag me in them. So I have a lot of real social proof of me being there, but not just that. You know, I wasn't the one responsible for any of those things. It was extra. And here's the thing with having these um, kind of plans, you know, like I had a destination, go to South America. I didn't have a plan of what I was doing. I knew I wanted to get to Colombia, was the number one place in South America when I got that calling. So I booked my ticket to Colombia, and then Ecuador was extra. Peru was extra. The duration that I was there, I didn't know, I didn't care. You know, I wanted to work with the medicine, but the medicine I learned was more than just mushrooms or ayahuasca or Cambo or anything. The medicine is also in hand reading and barefooting, and a lot of barefooting. And I do that like any continent, any country I've been in, you know, even, yeah, all kinds of different things. I love it. I believe that that's a sense that, you know, that we've kind of lost. It's also a connection. It's almost like the tail from the Avatar peoples when they plug it into the tree. That's our feet. It's also our gut when we're eating the food or consuming the medicine. So where I'm going with this is that, you know, it's good to have a destination, but if you plan too much, or if you're trying to be a perfectionist, like, done is better than perfect. Me booking that flight to Colombia was all I needed to do. The rest took care of itself. The way knows the way. You don't have to know the way. You don't have to plan the way. The way knows the way. And that's the surrender. You know, this is what our psychedelics actually are preparing us for, is the ultimate surrender, but also, you know, being able to surrender to life so that we can enjoy it and dance with it and flow with it a little bit more. I was on the Sunshine Coast one day. I was called down to the water, and I listen to these callings, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. And I tell my friend, you guys know her, Cindy. She's on the show too. And so I say, hey, Cindy, like, do you mind if like I skinny dip here or like anything? You know, it was early enough in the morning. Nobody was up yet, just in case, you know, if somebody comes down with kids or whatever. And so I let her know. She's like, no, that's fine. So I go down and I'm like, about to start taking off my clothes, and I see this thing, and I'm like, jump back, and I'm freaking scared, and I'm like, all my clothes staying on right now. I'm not going in that water. I'm like, oh my God. And something told me that whatever it was alive, and it kind of just looked like a gooey globule, but I knew it was living. And eventually I found out that it was like an octopus or squid or something. And I actually got this thing up, and it was alive. But the way that it surrendered to the waves, it was really close to death. But I learned so much from that in that moment. From the mountains, you know, I learned as the ice was melting down into Lake Shasta, and, you know, and this was in all different places. You know, we saw it in Utah as well, like everywhere. But these mountains, as they are letting go of the ice and the snow and like all their baggage, they stand strong no matter how much their rock shifts or shapes. However, it's on the bigger picture, it's barely noticeable. They are so strong. And when they let go, it is fierce and powerful and mighty. And it will, like, yeah, it will blow you off of your rocks if it needs to. There's so much to be learned from spending that time, from catching sunrise to sunset. Your circadian rhythm gets right back in. And so this is like a lot of what this flow is. It comes from this reconnection. Anybody who's out there that's like identifying right now with being ADD or ADHD, meaning you've been to a hospital. The H's means you've been to the hospital for it, and they gave you that diagnosis. But no, I'm just joking. But anybody with ADD or ADHD or, OCD or even CDO, that means it's OCD, but in alphabetical order because you're really severe with it, like myself. So if you're, any of these fucking diagnoses, do you know what they actually are? NDD, nature deficit disorder. This is the stuff when I knew I was going to homeschool that were so important. I had a diagnosis of, OCD. Well, if any of this stuff is hereditary, or if I don't change it in myself and he just learns those patterns and behaviors through environment, then I'm going to do my best to fill that environment, his environment, with the crowded out with this counteraction part, which is nature. And I grew up in nature. I love it. So that for myself is quite easy. But yet, we also have this apartment in the city too. So, we do have a lot of experiences in our life. I think that diversity, like in a mutt, in a dog mutt, that diversity helps that dog, that mutt, live a lot longer because they have genetics from so many different breeds of dogs. But this is like our guts need that with the probiotics and the prebiotics. Probiotics being our army of gut bacteria that keeps us healthy and our immune system strong, so necessary today. And then the prebiotics being like the cruciferous vegetables, the high fiber foods, that is the food for our probiotics, for our army. So we have the prebiotics, which is the food, and the probiotics, which is the army. And together they work really well. And it's the diversity that keeps us strong and healthy. We need that. We need the diversity of bacteria and we need the diversity of food. So, this is a really big, important part in all of this as well. And what I was, bringing it back full circle about just like having that plan. It's like I had my destination that I was going to road school, but I didn't know how long we were going. I didn't know what really our destinations were going to be. And that stuff drives a lot of people crazy. A lot of people that'll be like, oh, I just go with the flow. But meanwhile, they're being perfectionists in all areas of their life and not actually doing anything. Saying no to a lot of things. That's not saying yes to life. Me, I got a calling, road school your kid. This is why you're a parent, to do things a little bit different. This is why you're at 21 years old. I was told I can have kids by a doctor that's now up for, over prescribing a lot of prescriptions. Thank God I pulled my records from him and stopped letting him mess with my body when I did. I asked for my records and I gave them to a naturopath and I said, you take care of this now. I'd rather food because, I'd rather listen to, the old school Hippocrates type of teachings and take care of myself and take my own responsibility than have a doctor tell me I can't have kids at 21 because he gave me every kind of fucking birth control under the sun because my periods weren't regular. He never looked into what that was. I never got a diagnosis for PCOS or knew what that was. There are, I think 72% of girls are diagnosed with that. Do you know how many with like cervical issues and stuff, which, those Gardasil things, that's a whole other subject that I would be happy to talk about. Not on here, just in case we get in trouble. I have had a couple episodes pulled down. We backed them all up on Odyssey, but I've had a couple pulled off of YouTube and things like that. So, I don't want to get the radio station in any trouble. It's not just me anymore. You know, we've been picked up by Pace Radio, CBG TV, and now Psychonauts TV and the Future Cannabis Project. So, like, you know, things are, I'm been so busy lately. But you know, this is the fun stuff. These are like the callings. This is like the main part, you know. I didn't know when I was making like little tutorials making bug spray and natural alternatives with my son that I was going to end up having to talk. When I first started doing videos with Finn, that's what they were, videos with him. I was making like bug spray, natural bum wipes and things, different things that were just natural alternatives, sun creams, because I didn't want to do the conventional go to the store way. If anything, I wanted to get stickers that said toxic and put them on all of the things, but I didn't want to be a total anarchist, I guess. Oh my God. But I did, you know, I wanted to do that. I still want to do that. Maybe one day I will. Anybody who wants to go do that with me, or maybe just putting it out, maybe some kids out there have the energy to go. But yeah, I would do these videos and it was just music. There was no me talking. And now here I am talking to you guys live every week and talking to other people and doing YouTube videos, like all this stuff. None of this was the plan. Do you know what was the plan? To share natural alternatives. Do you know what I'm doing? Sharing natural alternatives. Do you know what I wanted to do when I wanted to be a solo traveler? Or it wasn't even about being a solo traveler. I just wanted to go to Colombia, follow in Terrence and Dennis McKenna's footsteps. I wanted to go to La Charrera and see where they did that experiment and be on land that wasn't touched wasn't contaminated by today's culture. That's what I wanted. And that's what I got. I also got to go and be in the warm water of Ecuador and have those waves splash on me and have, you know, strangers be inspired by me playing in the water and like come and play with me, grown ass adults just playing and having fun, and you know, from all different languages and cultures, and just being like, you feel that? Yeah, we feel that, you know, and we feel it together. And then, you know, be in Peru with hippies and Ollanta Tambo and have, you know, them, you know, I never wear shoes. Okay. One day I wore shoes because, you know, sometimes people pee in the streets and it gets washed down and things. And I did. And I had it validated that I don't need the shoes. Who fucking cares? When I was there, you know, they're the ones who said, you know, like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing to be scared of. What's more important is the connection to the earth. And I had that instilled and validated in. When I was climbing through ruins, bare feet, I had, you know, I could hear the music of the hippies in the camp. And I knew, like, you know, everybody's back. It's like, it's home. It's beautiful. I spent time in the Amazon rainforest, and I have friends that I will have for the rest of my life because they care about the same things. They see it, they feel it. They know the language that doesn't have any words. And, you know, when I became a mom, it was the same thing. I didn't know what I was going to do. When I became an entrepreneur, I knew I wanted to work for myself. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know that what I was doing, like trip sitting and just like, and hosting, was going to turn into me becoming a psychedelic integration specialist, one of the first, you know, breaking this kind of field open, and that I was going to end up being a girl who was kicked out of every grade, including kindergarten, in a Catholic school, and then got out of having to get a high school degree after being expelled. Somehow I managed to talk the college into, instead of doing a GED, to go to their college, and I did a bunch of courses through them to get me into the program in college that I wanted to. I did all of that for free, and they actually paid me, because I did some testing through them that was a sample for like altitude tests that they're going to give out in the future to test people's intelligence. And so they actually paid me and some of my friends for doing some of those things. You know, it didn't take anything but a little bit of my time. But, you know, I was able to do things differently. And then later on, you know, like from that difficult situation, I then ended up being certified in hospitality and tourism. I did drop out of that one, but I got like 2.5 years. I spent a decade in the industry, traveled a lot, did a lot. You know, that is like being a freelancer. That was my opening up into entrepreneurship, because as a bartender, which was my specialty at the time, it was all I knew was alcoholism. And so, you know, that was it. And then I added the travel in, and then I added in like the mindset of it being a freelancer, because you're doing everything for tips. And then from there, you know, that because of all those things that I built off, when I became an entrepreneur, I got certified in nutrition, hormone health. I got a master's in coaching. I got a master's in Reiki. I did a whole bunch of other things, let alone what I just learned, the amount of books that I read. When I was in nutrition school, I'd read 40 books in a month. Some of them were cookbooks, but they weren't always. So, you know, that's a lot. I consumed a whole lot. You know, I'm going to cut to break in a little bit, but I'll show you what I've been creating in this time. As I said, I've been very busy. And then you guys will, from this consumerism point, when I was just consuming all the data, you'll see how I've used that to create. Where I want to leave you before we go on this break, though, is that, you know, you don't need to have a plan, but you do need to listen to that voice inside of you. Allow that tiny voice to be a loud one. When the doctor said I couldn't have a kid, it's like, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to have a kid one day. And maybe it's not a good idea. Actually, like at first I was like, maybe it's not a good idea. This shit's going crazy in this world. Maybe it's not. But when I was gifted a child, I thought, wow, this is incredible. I really can heal. I really am onto something here. I have a job to do, because if I can do it, more people can do it. And then with the psychedelics was the same thing. With travel, the same thing. It's just, you know, everything's just growing exponentially at this point. And including my son and my dog. Oh my God, the dog's like doubled in size, and Finn too. Like from when we left to here, I'm like, oh my God, you barely fit in your room anymore. But like, I spent a lot of time setting it up really nice for him yesterday. It felt good. But this is what I'm saying is you don't have to have a plan. You know, you don't have to have a plan. You don't have to wait. You just have to let that little voice be a louder one and do the work. Just start taking action, unapologetic action. Take or actually unapologetic responsibility. If you don't like something in your life, it's your responsibility to change it. So do that. I'm going to give you some tips when we come back, but let's, you know, share our sponsors. They're doing amazing work. While you guys are sitting here watching, there's, you know, a lot of people out there like doing real work. So, you know, let's share our sponsors, and I'll bring you back and I'll show you some tips and tools that'll help you start taking action and, you know, get a little risky in your life as well.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with, and then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hello and welcome back. All right, so let's see if this works because I'm kind of new. It says shift 5. Let me just see. All right. Shift +7. Shift. Okay, well, that's not working. What my plan was. It's not going to work on here, I guess. I've got a lot to learn when it comes to this layout. But without wasting any time, what I'm actually going to do here is just head over to the website. And I actually encourage you guys to do it too. It's www.elementalgrowth.org. You can, just write it down, listen to me blabber, or you can go check it out and we'll go through this together. Let's go. All right. So I've done a lot of work on this, and a lot of you may not know, but my mom was one of the first people to really get into computers, especially in our small town. She was one of the first people involved into the VA personal assistant revolution, also virtual business cards, and all kinds of different things. She actually taught computers in my elementary school for a while. It was as far as in my world, was like the first person in my world to do that. And for a lot of the people in that town, mind you, we were a smaller town. I'm sure in the cities, things may have happened before then. But in my world and village town at the time, I was exposed really young. So I like to do things independently. And because I learned a lot of these skills at a young age, I've as much as I love nature, I do see the value in technology, and I do a lot of my work on my own. I don't have a virtual assistant that does all of my Instagram for me. I don't do that. I have hired people from my team members at different times, freelancers, to help me with certain things. That way I can continue keeping things going at a certain rate in a way that I've already developed while I go off and publish a book or different things. But for the most part, I've created, developed, and continue to run things as a sole entrepreneur. That being said, this website I change it and update things as I learn and grow. Usually with every season, there is quarters in a lot of businesses, being like the I want to say it, the goddess I am right now, the nature lover, goddess loving, worshiping witch I am. I really like to do things with the seasons. So it makes sense that they have quarters in entrepreneurship. I kept that up, but I do it with the seasons, which means that each quarter per se aligns with what the seasonal messages actually are too. So as I'm changing and updating the website, I'm also changing and updating different parts of my life, different parts of my business, different parts of my parenting to be in alignment with what that season's messages are. So right now let me get my cacao here, which I've been drinking in secret over that commercial break. But this season's all about letting shit go. That's what it's about. And when we purge, that's when we're able to fill that space up with the positivity. So this is a great time. Plus, I'm like born an air sign, so I love when the seasons start changing this way. I could already feel it just being in some of the more northern climates. Some of the leaves were already starting to change. So I felt the call. I'm like, get on there. Let's do this. So I deleted a whole bunch of stuff. Old pictures I updated with more ones that are family-oriented, things with me and Finn. I have never really shared Finn on this website because I was always scared that someone would be like, oh, well, you're talking about psychedelics and here you are with your kid. But, I'm feeling more confident in this path, and, leaving my medicine bag here when I was traveling, that was kind of like leaving a part of my ego and identity behind too. I didn't realize that I developed up that identity until I had to leave it behind. Then I'm like, oh wait, there was still some ego attached or developing, and it felt uncomfortable leaving it. But what was of comfort is going back to my regular self, being a minimalist, and trusting that the universe would provide me everything I need, and anything I needed and more was provided. Ceremonies, business opportunities, medicine, people to help. Like I would go in these really remote areas with medicine that was given to me just before, and then there'd be somebody who needed that medicine. I realized that I really am just a vessel, and that's how amazing is that? It is a form of surrender, but it's quite liberating as well. And so, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, because that gave me the confidence I needed to be like, this is who I am. I really am this medicine woman, even if I leave my medicine bag at home. I really am a medicine woman and a mother, and I can be both things. I can be both things. I can be a homeschooler and an entrepreneur at the same time. I can help people with psychedelic medicine and raise a child, and everybody's going to be okay. Whereas like I had these fears before that, I'd be captured and put in a box because that's what happened to my dad. We put in a box for LSD, you know, and, you know, I thought for sure they're going to take my child away, because that's what happened to my Native American ancestors when their villages were torn apart and children were taken and put into residential schools. And that's what's in my DNA. You know, I also have the Voyager. The reason why I'm not as dark, you know, the reason why I didn't get as much color as some of my cousins and even my mom or like anything like that is, you know, I got the Voyager in me too. You know, that nomad, but that nomad fell in love with the native. That nomad fell in love with those traditions. That nomad, you know, they were able to work together. And I found that inside of myself too. I found where's the weight and the color, where's that diversity that's inside of me, you know, and where does that integrate in? And doing that gave me a lot more self-acceptance and confidence. These were a lot of the lessons that I was learning or having instilled. You know, it was like a memory coming up that now I realize, you know, I can let a lot of that shit go and come back to me. And this is me, you know, this is me. And so I shared a lot more pictures of different things that we've done. Yeah. And, you know, and that's just part of it. I wish I was able to show you because, you know, the pictures are like, you know, obviously this is like a video thing. So instead of just seeing me talk, you'd be able to be looking at that. I'm going to have to talk to my producer and find out how I share screen on here. Let me just try one time. No, they don't. Let me just try. Nope, still doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to continue on. Should I read it out? No, I'm going to let you guys read it when you get there. Yes, I put my heart and soul into it, making sure that the words are correct because the words are spells. And I really wanted to ensure that, yeah, that you guys more understood what I'm doing here. But, you know, there's a lot around transformation, words that I chose around transformation. I also, one of the changes that I did was I let go of my attachment to money. I've made pretty good money. On my living cost is really low and my business cost is really low because of my lifestyle and the lifestyle choices that I make. So a lot of the money that I earn goes back into other people. Yes, oftentimes it'll go into like gifts or trainings or different things that like I can give out. It goes into my life a little bit. It goes into different destinations a little bit, but I actually my gas and my destinations go into my living expenses, which as I said was really low anyway. The trip that we did for those 3 months, I didn't go over what my living costs were regularly. It stayed pretty even throughout, but I've been doing this for so many years, you guys, that I've got it down to an art. I'm an artist. But so I guess what I'm saying there is that my attachment to money wasn't on living expenses, but I did want to make a bigger impact. And to making it bigger impact, you do have to use the money. And not only that, I was learning the hard way that that people have the money and that they spend money anyway. So I started getting it into my mind that if I could be the vessel for that money, then I would be spending it in a different way that would maybe be more beneficial for the collective. But I realized that was very judgmental, not the best mindset, though it is true. There's a lot of money out there and a lot of it's getting spent on things like Coca-Cola and fatty oils and McDonald's and freaking giving Oprah Winfrey donation money when she's got a wealth of money of her own. We don't need to be giving money away because she's Oprah. Okay. You know, that's controlling your spending, making you more of a slave to the 9-to-5 rat race. Same with the Coca-Cola addiction, same with a tobacco addiction, or nicotine with the vapes, or, you know, high indicas that put you in the couch. You know, these kinds of things. You know, I like to think about money as that it's a vote. Every dollar is a vote for the world that I want to live in. So, you know, I keep my expenses low, but I do still want to invest in land conservation. My friend Jana does a lot down in the Amazon rainforest. I love that woman. She transformed her life in so many ways, went from human resources into a trip into the Amazon, fell in love, and started a conservation. That is her whole life now, that and her kids. You know, I would like to do stuff like that here in Canada, in other areas too. You know, I also had this calling to light up the world by hosting retreats on each of the planet's energy centers. These really big missions have come through. I have no idea how to do them, but I do know that money is going to play a part in any of that. So what I decided to do instead is to just trust, instead of planning out, oh, I need this amount of money or this amount of money, because the truth is, I don't know. So what I'm doing instead is everything through elemental growth. I'm going to keep working as I work. I'm going to keep coaching as I coach. I'm going to keep giving high value content, high quality content, articles, books, everything. My books that I worked so freaking hard on. And when I was in nutrition school, they helped me publish my first book, Be the Change. I didn't know I was going to be an author. I didn't know that was in the cards for me. I didn't know that was what was going to happen. But it did happen. And those books, you know, I took time away from my kid to publish that book. Rebirth was a little bit easier. I did it all in articles. A client of mine took all those articles, helped me turn it into a book. So that was a little bit easier. Again, I was learning and optimizing on the process. So I didn't have to take that time away from my kid. But for the first book, I did, you know, and that really bothered me. And then to have Amazon take all my books off of the shelf, that hurt. You know, it also hurt when, you know, there's an Indigenous authors club through Audible, and, you know, I was like rejected from that. But I know it didn't matter that I got rejected. It didn't matter that my books got taken off the shelf, just like it never mattered that any content I've ever made has been taken off of Instagram, or that my Twitter was deleted, or that LinkedIn has blocked me out for a lifetime. You know, I really don't care, because that is all the drama. The data is that I had a calling to make a change, to normalize psychedelics, and to teach on the integration, the wisdoms of nature getting woven into the integration work, so people can get over the NDD, the nature deficit disorder, that's causing all of these other symptoms. If we can get back to nature, you know, and this is like, you know, there's so many words here. You know, I was telling you I was a wordsmith. Writings, you know, helps me get it out. But, you know, essentially the way of my surrender here is that now everything's through love donation. I don't have to chase anybody down for money. Sometimes I'm working with addicts, and I had a recovering addict, you know, I had to chase him down for money one time. He ended up dead. He took the money that was for me and used it for drugs, and he didn't make it. And that, you know, I felt like, wow, I do have to, you know, do the money thing, but it's not always easy. So this is, you know, now somebody who's going through that situation, that's like, I've got more money than I know what to do with right now, which was his situation. His situation was he got a large amount of money, didn't know what to do with it. So now there's a place in the donation bin. And in return, there's times that he doesn't have any money, he still gets my help, because my calendar is open and it stays open, whether I'm on the road or not. there are emergency situations where maybe I don't call you right at that moment of your appointment, but sometimes I'm not, because things come up. But I do my best. And this way, everybody can get the help and support. I can, instead of worrying about money or chasing people down for money, I can put all of that energy into just creating all kinds of different things for you. And I'll show you, you're going to see it anyway when you get onto my website, elementalgrowth.org. But yeah, like on the main page here, I do talk a little bit about the love donation because, it is still important to do that energy exchange. You'll get more out of it when you pay for it. And also, there's just like, there's a bunch there. I'm going to make some more stuff about money because it's something that I've been working with a lot of really amazing people with for a long time, and I'm having some realizations and some shifts in my life right now that I think could be helpful for others. I just haven't fully found the words for it yet, so I will work on that. Right now, the work that I've been doing has been all around answering all of your guys' questions around psychedelics and putting them into booklets for you all that are printable, and you can download them all for free. All those books that got taken down off Amazon, they are now available on the website for free. So you can save that money if you don't have the money. If you do have the money, get them all for free and then make a donation. If you don't have the money, like do all the work, earn some money, work with me. I'll help you earn money or get to where I am, because sometimes I make double what my expenses are. That's why I was telling you, I keep my expenses low, but sometimes I make double what I make. Sometimes when I'm on the road or I cut back my hours, it's not always the same. Losing the income from these books, it may not be the same, but sometimes I do very, very well, double what my, and one day that's going to be triple. Like, I'm trying to open myself up to that kind of abundance because I have these really big goals that I'm getting closer to. I've had people contact me in this last year telling me that they're like, that they're ready for these big things, and they didn't even know what my plan is, but they say, you're the person I need. So things are happening. I'm doing my own work to accept the changes, which are often uncomfortable, so that's part of it. One of these ways that you can start earning money is that I have a certification offer where you can actually, through one of the world's largest standing health coaching schools, get certified. And I did this certification when I was breastfeeding my son. This is a school that helped me publish my first book. So I was a brand new mom doing this. And then I also, what else? Yeah, I didn't have a lot of money. I was like just out of a breakup. I worked until I gave birth to my son. I was dilated, still working. So there was a little while there, the first 2 or 3 years of Finn's life, where I wasn't earning a lot of money. If anything, it would have been like government money, like those monthly checks you get from having a kid here in Ontario, in Canada. So thank God for that. But that's what I paid my nutrition school with, was that government check. So, and then I started earning money. So, this here. I also give like a promise, I got tons of testimonials on there. But here's where I've been putting a lot of work in lately, is that if you go into the psychedelics page, I have made all kinds of guides for you guys. I've got Unlock the World of Psychoactive Plants, Discover the World of Psychoactive Toads and Frogs, Explore the Mystical Realm of Psychoactive Fungi, Unravel the World of Psychoactive Synthetics, Discover the Hidden Depths of the Endogenous Psychedelics, and even more, as I mentioned, you can get Be the Change. You can get the Rebirth Guide. I have got a 3-page mushroom manual, and I've got a 13-page What's in My Cambo medicine bag. So you guys can learn all about rapé and dragon's blood and Cambo and all that in more depth. The 3-page mushroom manual, that one's for like any newbie. That's what you want to give your newbie friends. That's if you are somebody new that doesn't know anything about it, that's what you want, that 3-page guide. But all of these are free to download. This is where I've been putting a lot of my work. I let go of stuff, you guys. I went into this website and I was like, okay, homepage, delete, about page, delete. And I did the psychedelics. In the future, I'm going to go like back into, integration network in the shop. Right now, the shop's linked into one of our sponsors, but eventually the shop's going to be a list of all of our different sponsors. The network, I'm still trying to roll that out. There's talks and partners that have come in to help me with this. The goal was to have it on a website, but because of our subject matter, I really care about keeping the families in our collective really safe. So putting all of that information on a website may not do that. I'm trying to figure out what to do here to make it so that it's really easy for people to find what they need and what they desire and people local to them, but also still keep people's privacy and things. So we're working on that. What we do now works and it's been working for a long time, but things change. It might be time to just add in some new, maybe maybe in the spring, there'll be some more blossoming. Maybe I'll get the idea in the winter when things go a little bit stagnant and I have that time to do the deep meditation. Not sure yet. There's been talk about going south too. So maybe I'll be south for the winter and I don't know. We're going to figure this out. I'm going to say goodbye for now, you guys. I love you all so much. Thanks for spending this hour with me. I'm going to share our sponsors one last time, and I guess we will head off. Actually, how long is the closing? Yeah, I think we're good. If any of you guys need anything from me, get over to elementalgrowth.org. Book in coaching call. If you want to be a guest on the show, it's right there in the calendar to fill in the form, find a date, come on as a guest. I would love that. You can be a guest. Maybe you want online integration coaching, and we could and you're open to sharing that coaching experience on the air. That's great if you're open to that, because that could help a lot of people. If you're somebody who has a business or a passion or a project that they're doing or a story that they need to share that they feel is going to inspire people to do this integration work or have a tool that's going to help people with this integration work, then get in there and book in a show. Okay, you guys. Also, there's the coaching, there's the integration, there's, if you guys want to do the learn and earn internship mentorship program, all of that's there, so there's the business stuff, the personal stuff, and then there's the show stuff. So I love you all so much. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for spending Sunday with me. Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes